If you want to start digital art or simply just improve it, then let me show you all the tools and things that help a lot of artists create much better drawings. So you don't have to spend hours or even months trying to find these things on your own. So first let's start with some basics and then we'll go to more advanced things like apps and tools that I use. So first let's start with programs, and nowadays there's actually a lot of them, so it's pretty hard to choose one. And my recommendation is to just go try the free trials of everything and just see what works the best for you. But if you want to know what I'm using, I'm just using Clip Studio Paint and sometimes Photoshop. But I wouldn't recommend Photoshop for beginners. There's a lot of tools that you don't really need and can just overwhelm you. So Clip Studio Paint is for me like pretty good for just starting. So now maybe someone might ask why I'm using like CSP instead of Photoshop. And in every program there's some sacrifices that you have to make. And for me in Photoshop I couldn't really make time lapses. Now I can with like an extension that I'll put on the screen, which helps me with it. But also Photoshop feels a little bit laggy. So whenever I move things, I have to move them a lot before they start moving, and it just, I don't know, it's a small thing, but actually ruins my workflow. Also the pens might be sometimes laggy, and CSP actually have a very smooth like painting experience. So yeah, also even in CSP I just miss things like the sharpen tool, which is really great for illustrations. And in Photoshop I also hate the liquify tool. So in CSP you can have like multiple layers, boom, with different things, and then if you just select all them and use a liquify tool, you can move them all at once. And in Photoshop you cannot really do that. So I would recommend like CSP for beginners. Also you can use things like Krita. I used it maybe 2 times and it was fine. So just go and try them for yourself. But now let's say you have your program. So pretty much first thing that we always do is we set up our canvas. So new, and here we have our basic canvas setup. So here we have width and height, and as you can see here I use 6K by 4.5K, but sometimes I'll use this 6K by 4.8K. But yeah, this one is more for like Instagram, so it doesn't cut things, but I use just this for just drawings and studies. Also, but here we have record time lapse. We can off quality or file size. I just use quality. It's pretty nice to just make a really nice time lapse. So yeah, also resolution 300 dpi, basic. Then we just press OK and we have our canvas. So now let's go to basic tools like brushes. As you can see here on the left side, I have my brushes. And for drawing, you basically just need this hard round brush, which is basic in every program. You see here, it's pretty nice. Obviously, you can have like texture brushes. No, mine are for free in the description below, but you obviously don't need them. You can just use a simple round hard brush, and that will do the work. Now we have also eraser here, super useful tool. Color wheel, where you just pick your colors, which is super useful. I like it to have like the full color wheel with this cube here, pretty nice. And then a simple movement, as you can see here, we have a move. So for me it's for space, but you can just press H and also move. I like space because when I drop it, it just drops the hand. Then we have Z for zooming. If you hold the Z button and then you move your brush, you see that you can move and zoom out. Then we have rotate, which is super useful. Whenever you can just draw a line in some angles, you can just move and draw this line over again, boom. And then one that sometimes I use is basically Ctrl Alt, and then you just move up or down and it just changes your brush size. But yeah, also A and S decreases or increases the size of my brush. Pretty useful. Now we also have tools like lasso tool, which I use all the time. It's super useful. Combined with like a brush, it basically just selects an area, you cannot draw past that. And combined with airbrush, it's just super good, as you can see, boom. But also you have some options like this. And now let's go to layers. So pretty much let's just place some ball here. So pretty much Ctrl Shift N is creating a new layer, or you can just press here, new raster layer, boom, then you can just draw. Now putting things on different layers, like here in these illustrations, I had one for the whole body, I had other for hair, this part here, other for back of the hair, for clothes, for this. I just like keeping things separate, so you can always just go and work on these. So we have our sphere on a new layer. What we can do is just make a new layer and then clip it to the bottom layer. And now if we want to draw, you cannot go past that, as you can see here, boom. I also use this a lot, for example, for shadows or for rendering. Pretty much these designs here, I just clip it to this layer and I draw on top. So same here. We can now move to layer modes, and we have normal, and I'll tell you what I just use. Normal, multiply, color dodge, glow dodge, add glow, overlay, and hard light, and sometimes color saturation in these things. So let's just go to multiply, which multiplies the color you just have. And you see that you can create a simple shadows like that. And we have super simple shadow. And now a smudge tool or a blur tool, and we see can blur the edges. Pretty useful. Now next layers, let's clip it also. We have a color dodge. So let me quickly show you what these will do. Pretty much these layers are pretty nice for adding like a glow effect or light. We can make a warmer light here. Boom. Super simple. So this is color dodge. Now we can also glow dodge. This is pretty nice also. Boom. Then we have add glow, overlay, and hard light. These are what I use. You can just try them for yourself. Pretty good. Also, you can decrease the opacity of this layer, and you see you cannot really see nothing. And 100. Boom. You can also hide it or show it. Boom. It's pretty nice. I use them all the time. And now let's go and let me show you some super useful shortcuts that I use. So here the first thing is just flip the canvas. I have a shortcut for F4 for that, but we can also use these here on the side and just flip it the same way. It's just great for spotting the mistakes. It gives you a new perspective on your drawings, and you can spot some things that are off way easier. Then we have Control Y for me, which is color profile preview, and here I have to just check it to grayscale, and you see that we have a grayscale. Pretty good to check your values, but you have to actually install this one. It's a custom preview, so link in the description. Now also whenever I use my lasso tool, I have one keybind that I use all the time. It is F2, which fills. So new layer, just pick a color, for example here, boom, and we have this. You don't have to go to bucket and just do it manually, just select F2 and you have it. So it's actually good for placing flat colors. For example, here you just go select your character very quick, some more, boom, you just quickly select, then press F2 and you have flat colors. Then you can obviously add quick shadows everywhere on new layer, boom, and just add maybe even like some close. Super good. Then we can go actually to some correction layers. So press here, new correction layer, brightness and contrast, and this basically just changes the contrast of your drawings. Boom, contrast, brightness, super bright, low contrast, boom. Just it's great when you finish and you just want to adjust some things. Also correction layer, and I use color balance, which just helps you change the colors a little bit, so you can see that this is now much cooler. Boom. And you can also just boost the reds and yellow. Obviously it's overdone, but you can always just decrease the opacity and you see. Boom. And then we have also filters. I use them all the times. Here we have a chromatic aberration, which is amazing. Basically just moves channels of your character a little bit. Obviously this is too extreme, do less of it, but yeah. Then we have also effects noise. Basically it just adds noise to your drawing. You see these colors here, boom, pretty good. It just makes your drawing more cohesive, pretty nice. Then I also used a Gaussian blur, Gaussian blur, boom, and I erase it. Obviously I make a copy of the layer below, and then we can just add a nice blur to our drawing, boom, and just make more impact on our focal point like face. Now going to super useful apps, we see that here we have a PureRef. It's a great app that it's made for references. So for example, whenever I study something, I just put this on the site and then I can draw or study whatever you want. So the best part of it is you can just drag and drop everything. So the best part of it is you can just drag and drop everything or copy and paste. Boom, we have this. You can obviously play with it. Amazing grayscale to just study values. Boom. But the best part is it always stays on top. So whenever you just draw, you don't have to look at your second monitor. You don't have to pretty much do anything, or just alt tab to see your references. You have it on your side. You can make it smaller, boom, or place it wherever you want, even as like a small window here, and you can just start drawing, boom. Next up is Gesture Search. It basically is great for practicing. You just put your own references. That's what I like about it. So you don't have to use like website when you have just limited references or you cannot add your own. This lets you do that, and combine this with an app called Power Tools. Just lets you do the same as PureRef and just have it always on top, which is great for practicing. You don't have to make your drawing window smaller. maybe you have limited space or you don't have to look at your other monitor. And then next we have Blender, which is a 3D program that you can use for making your own references. So you can just download a 3D model, pose it however you want, add light, how strong you want, and just render it to have like a picture of the reference, and you can use it for your own drawings. Now we can go to next part, which is about websites. And here is a simple 3D model of a face on Sketchfab, but I also use this 3D model. Boom, you can obviously move light however you want here. It's just a great to like draw faces for whatever angle you want. And also you have a light reference here, so you can make all the angles you want, even here, boom. Super useful, whatever angle you want. That's why I like 3D, you just have a huge control over how your reference looks. The next website is Pose Maniacs. Basically, it's just a website when you have a really big library of just references. And here you also have 3D models. So as you can see, it loaded, and then you can move it, you can zoom it, change the FOV and everything, and just have a super nice reference. It's also great to just do gesture drawings or like figure drawings. Amazing, whatever angle you want. And then you have a Pinterest, which is just amazing for taking references. Also, there's a lot of AI, so you just gotta turn it off. It doesn't work perfectly, but you can see here you have a lot of cool references. You can just press and go and look for them, like even like 3D models and like drawings from other people, or just photos. Super nice, you can just use it as a reference. Then we have an ArtStation, which is also amazing for getting references, getting motivation, and just looking at other people's amazing art. And you can even study it, like here. I love this artist, Terence Cantle or Willip. It's an amazing place to just get some pretty nice drawings for studies, for references, whatever you want. And we can also use Twitter to just look for some drawings, pretty nice. And now if you're struggling with drawing faces, you can check out the face drawing course that I'm making that will help you go from a basic potato to a fully rendered face, and also with a bonus content there, so link in the description. And now to recap everything, first you want to choose your drawing program, and I just recommend just trying every program, just getting the free trial and seeing what works best for you. Then we obviously have some basic tools like brushes, smudge tools, liquify, lasso tool. You need to get to know them, so you can just use them. We also have our color wheel, layers, and then more tools like flipping the canvas, like this navigator here, which is super useful. Also shortcuts like fill in the selected area, or even going to grayscale and checking your values. And then obviously apps, so PureRef, Gesture Search plus Power Tools, or even Blender for making your own 3D references. Pretty amazing. And then for website, I use Sketchfab or ArtStation for head 3D models, but you can find much more models. Then I also use Pose Maniacs to just get some nice nice poses that I can study or reference. And then we can also use websites like Pinterest, ArtStation, or a simple Twitter. So yeah, you can also check out my Patreon for monthly tutorials. And if you want to learn how to draw anime faces, you can check out this video here and I will help you with it. Bye.